Hey, what's going on, everyone? Because I'm a Fury here, and I'm here to tell you my true and genuine thoughts on the reveal of the Nintendo Switch. First off, I gotta say, I love this fucking design. I like Nintendo does not disappoint when it comes to the innovation of the designs of the systems, but I have apprehensions due to the Wii U and due to the Wii as well. Let's say Wii was very successful, affordable system, made games, made people play, innovative control, no doubt. But at the end of its life cycle, people just started to just put shovelware on there, and the system just failed. But then when the Wii U came along, it seemed to be a more innovative version of the Wii. It was more powerful. It was great. It was good on paper, but what happened was with it is that it lost its third-party support, just like the initial Wii did. But the difference was we brought out a lot of games, but a lot of them were just niche games, and they were not great. We talking about solid third-party support, and this is my apprehension of it. Otherwise, I'm great. I'm good with the design and the collector me. I know I'm gonna pick up one, so I'm not gonna even sit here and say I refuse to buy this. But I'm just gonna explain my apprehension. I want my money's worth this time. The only game that I really was interested in the most that made me buy a Wii U was that it was the exclusive home of Bayonetta 2, and I fucking love Bayonetta. And of course I picked up other third-party games, but it wasn't much to offer from, and I have a backlog of the first-party games. But yes, there's people like me who have, after a time, just become wary of their first party games, the same characters, or the lack of visiting the classic characters properly, not properly, like just visiting them in general and giving them justice. I know we got Mario and Zelda, alright? Now I'm not saying these games are terrible. I'm not saying that in the slightest sense. I'm just saying, for someone like me, and there's people out there who do think like me, I'm not saying we the majority, you just grow after a while. You just like, another Mario and Zelda game, I'm not trying to take a dig at anybody who's a hardcore fan, but that's just how it is. And this is people like me are who they should be trying to win over. Not just me, but it's supposed to be a culmination of everybody. You're supposed to be trying to win over as much people as you can when it comes to the system. But it's been the same thing since I was since I was like 8 years old. It's been the same thing since I was 7. It's been the same games coming, the same two lead properties on the consoles, and that's Mario and that's a Link game. That's just the way it is. But my thing is, it's been 30 years. It's been 30 years, people. And to be honest with you, they have to do more than what they're doing right now. They can't just give me a Mario pinball or just give me a flagship Mario for this game, and people are just gonna love Mario. Oh, it's fun, it's great, and let's just be honest. With some of us, it's a nostalgic trip, all right? And the kid, of course, it's something that's a system I can get my children into if I had children, but I don't, all right? And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be playing some of these games on there and stuff, but I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. Not that I'm a savvy businessman, but we already been reading reports from the last few years about how Nintendo, the only thing that's keeping them afloat is the Nintendo DS. Alright, so all the R&D, all the resources is going into this Nintendo Switch, and it has to be good. Is it gonna have the DS to keep it afloat? I think after this many years of the DS being out, I don't think it's the system that's gonna keep it's gonna be the contingency plan, unless they have something better than a DS lined up, and we about to find out. But let's get back to the innovation of the design. They are making a system that's a hybrid, which is a handheld slash gaming console. So are they going to bring out a successor to the DS? I don't know. And if they do, are they going to rely on its cheaper price point than the Switch? Because obviously it's going to be cheaper to keep them afloat. And then going back to cartridge too. So let's see how this goes. You know, technology is getting more grand as time goes on. So maybe now is the right time to go back to cartridge. Maybe now we won't have the graphical limitations that the N64 gave us with sound and compressed sound and just anything, you know, just with all of that. How are they going to handle the loading times of this? It like they in the right place with the cartridge, but my thing is, from a power standpoint, how is this going to compare to anything they do in the past? And I'm not going to compare it to the other two consoles. I'm talking about to anything they've done in the past. How is it going to exceed the Wii U? Is it going to be on the same par as the Wii U, but it's just going to have more of the innovation that I think they were trying to get right the first time with the Wii U, but they didn't? I think this basically, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the successor to the Wii that they wanted. They wanted to do all these things, but they needed to strike while the iron was hot. The Wii U was dead. I mean, the Wii was dead. They needed a new main console out there. So I think they just pretty much had this system in the making, and the Wii U was the system they pushed to suffice. You know, maybe I'm not saying I'm right, but you never know. They designs are quite familiar, but it seems like the pad, what they wanted to make everything more streamlined, that the pad is the system's power core itself. You know, it's the screen that you pick up and you put the cool controllers on it, and the controller pieces on the side. You want to take it on the go, and when you get back home, you take those off, put it onto the bridge to play as a controller. That's fucking awesome. I love that shit. I mean, honestly, I've sat here and when I first watched this video a couple hours ago and I saw the Switch, I was like, then the more I thought about it, I was like, I like this shit. Straight up, I do. But like I was saying, what are they gonna do about the third party situation? I've seen the Elder Scrolls remastered, that one version that they're gonna bring out. I've seen the NBA 2K game, and of course I've seen Mario. I've seen the Mario Kart. I've seen the Mario. I've seen Breath of the Wild Zelda, open end Zelda. You know, that was a long time coming. You know, and I've always said to myself, if I don't get through this lifetime and see a Zelda with a full out vocal dialogue and a storyline, like some Final Fantasy shit, an open-ended Zelda would definitely take the place of that. Like, that's something we need to do, you know, so it won't be so linear. I mean, we've been playing linear Zelda games for years. I mean, look what Kojima did with Metal Gear Solid 5. Well, the game's not complete, and Konami screwed them, but it's open-ended. I can still play it today, and they still supporting it with field ops based mission games, and you get bonus prizes, and they still releasing weapons for that game, grades that enhance the weapons for that game, making you go and rob other people's bases of their resources so you can develop more bases and more soldiers and up your levels so you can create these weapons and make them stronger, and then you can go back and play the game, the missions, with more powerful weapons and get higher ranking scores. And it's a gift that keep on giving, you know. So imagine what they could do with an open-ended Legend of Zelda. So that would probably be the first Zelda game I bought in a long time, you know. And that's all I want, basically, is them to have just as good third-party support as they had first. It's time, you know. System, if you haven't learned anything, now I'm going to bring in the Xbox One and the PS4 comparisons, but only strictly on third-party support. It's what keeps those systems afloat, you know. And Nintendo was relying on keeping their first party, keeping them afloat. But we have to be honest. Those days are coming to an end. They sales have proved it, that these days have come to an end. If not already, they are, because the systems, the people, maybe people my age in their 30s, are they game, most of their gameplay has become more mature. But I don't never want Nintendo to lose who they are. I just want them to add to their legacy, to appeal to everybody, keep themselves relevant, for the simple fact that they are the last of the developers from the 90s, you know, of the console makers. You know, it was Nintendo and it was Sega who started this thing off, and then we got people such as, then we got Microsoft into it, then we got Sony into it. Now those two are the two leaders of it, and Nintendo is still hanging around and stuff. Nintendo should have a stronger foothold in the door, you know. I know times change, I know people change, but you gotta not give up what you are, but you gotta appeal to everyone at the same time. And that's just what I hope this Switch system does. I mean, I've seen, it's cool how you can turn each one into a controller, take it on the go. There's people playing off the screen with a kickstand, with a little kickstand to it and stuff. And that's just, that's good place where you can actually make you can actually like bring in like Netflix, Hulu, things to that account and stuff. Is so it's gotta have Wi-Fi. But when you on the go and you're not someplace where Wi-Fi is, are you gonna be able to have like internet connection through like third-party support or a place like that? You know, most people gonna use Wi-Fi, but are they gonna have that option? See, it's things like that that make me more intrigued of this. But I hope that they come through, so my intriguement will have something to suffice, you know. But otherwise, I think it's, on what I've seen so far, I think it's awesome. I really do. I really think it's awesome. I really think that this is going to be something to keep your eye out on. I just hope that they got to support this time. I hope they not stubborn enough to think they're going to do this again on their own. They have to, all right? Because we don't get Gears of War 4 and we don't get Gears of War 4 every year for the Xbox One. That took years to make, you know. We third party and the internet connectivity is support is what keeps these things afloat while we wait for the killer first party apps, no matter what system you want and stuff. So that's the problem that happened with the Wii U. They had nothing to keep them afloat while they were waiting on while people were waiting for their first party. And that's when it became a paperweight with the Wii U, you know. So otherwise, I think I'm actually impressed with the design. I actually really like this design. I just hope that it appeals to the people who think like me and the casuals out there also who just are on the fence about buying it, or they just like, they want something that appeals to them. You know, people who aren't the biggest fans of Nintendo's first party and stuff, because there's a lot of people out there who just don't want to play a Mario game. They want to sit down and play that, you know. Some people get their kicks playing online different games on a system where they can talk to people and have all types of fun and stuff. Are we gonna have this sort of system? Who knows? But otherwise, I think it's awesome. I think it's good. I just hope that it doesn't let me down. I think they might have learned a lesson this time, but don't quote me on that. Alright? Anyway, because I'm a Fury, I'm out. Remember, keep watching what you want, keep gaming the way you want, and keep being you. And I'll check you back here next time. But before I go, let me ask you something. What do you think will be Nintendo's fate if this system fails? Alright? Are they going to go into the software like Sega? Or what do you think? Alright? because I don't think that's a chance of happening. Honestly, if you ask me, I think they're just gonna severely downsize, but I'm not looking forward to it happening. So this got to work. I know out the gate it's gonna sell. It's gonna sell because Nintendo always do. But I want it to stay consistent and not have people trade it in or give up on it and stop buying games for it, and then it fails. You know. So that's how I think. Anyway, like I said, have a good night. Keep being you. Peace.